Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the part 2 of the series on how to create clothes for the Sims 4. In part 1, we learned how to use Mobile's designer to create a mesh for this beautiful two-piece outfit. On this part 2, we are going to use Blender to mold our mesh to fit into our Sims 4 game. So let's get started. You open your Blender. I use Blender 3.6, split the interface into two and change one from object mode to UV editor. You leave the other one in object mode, that's 3D mode. Then next you go to file, import, wavefront obj, because that's how we saved our Marvelous Designer file. Then you look for your low poly, not your high poly, then you import it to your 3D viewport. And it's supposed to come up like this. If you saved your low poly file with the same settings that I used for mine in the previous video, yours should show like this. But if it's not showing properly, or maybe you have a tiny dot on your 3D interface without your full outfit showing, then meaning you have to go back to the previous video and see how you saved yours. So next you have to import we have to append our body mesh. So you click on file append, then you go to where you saved your EA body mesh for Blender, then you open it, like you double click it, then you go to object, double click, go to Sims 4 Studio Mesh 1, then it will import your EA body mesh for Blender. So next you delete Boom, just click X on your 3D viewport to delete it. Leave your rig. Then what I'm just going to change the color of my body mesh so I can differentiate it from my cloth mesh. Okay. You can pick whatever color you like. So next what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the name of my body from body mesh from Studio Mesh to body, so I will not be confused when I import another mesh that has similar name. So you can leave yours like that if you will not be confused. So next I'm going to delete the materials that came with my cloth mesh. I'm going to assign the entire mesh just one uniform fabric, one uniform color, sorry. So why do I even do that? I don't know if it has any significance, but I like doing it that way. Next up, I'm going to close all openings, starting from the bottom part of my outfit, that's the skirt. So I'll go to edit mode by clicking the tab on your keyboard, or you can just manually go to edit mode. Then I'll click on vertex, so that's that middle line stuff there. Then what I'll do, to click along a full axis, I'll click on one end, control, then I'll click on the other end to highlight all the vertex along that line. So once I've done for the front pattern, I will repeat the same thing for the back pattern to make sure all vertex lines are clicked. So once I've done that, I will go to my 3D viewport, then I will to extrude just a little, then I will click S on the keyboard to scale it. Let me do it again. Let me rotate it so that we'll see it properly. I will click on E on my keyboard to extrude a little, then I will click S on my keyboard to scale it to the middle point. Once I've done that and I've seen that I've closed the bottom part, I'll click on Z on my keyboard, then click on G to move forward, so that I don't know, to make it look neater, I think. So that I'll take it up a bit, so that when the scene is working, the bottom part of the mesh will not be shown. I hope I explained that well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close all openings for this outfit. From the bottom part of the skirt, I'll close the top part of the skirt. So I'll hide the body so it will be easier. So I'll click on F once I've highlighted the vertex. Using this F method, it reduces the number of polygon vertices we have, since we now have extra faces and vertices of vertex. So what I'm going to do, where I can, especially at these hidden parts, I'm going to use this F method. always going to save your files because I don't know, sometimes Blender glitches and crashes and you lose your progress. So at intervals, always going to save your files. And when you get to a certain point, save as so that you have different files just in case you have an error, you can go back to your previously saved file. So next step is to cover this opening to the top part of our mesh. So because of the way this is, if we use the extrusion and scaling method, it's going to look awful. So the best thing we need to do is to separate these edges of our top. We'll separate it from every other part of the mesh, then we'll solidify to make it thick, to give that illusion of thickness. So just click on your edit mode, use L to highlight each what's this thing called? I don't know the name, but see what I'm doing. Highlight each part of what you want to solidify to make thick. Then you hit P on your 3D viewport, then you separate by selection. It will give you an entirely new mesh. So what you do, the separated parts, you go to this wrench looking sign there to add the solidify modifier. You click on add modifier, look for solidify, then you increase it, you reduce the thickness to 0.003, I think that's the best thing. Once you see that you are okay with the thickness of that mesh, make sure you apply it. If you don't apply your modifier, once you exit your Blender file, the modifier will remove. So once you've done it, I think okay, what I did was too thick. I reduced it a bit to 0.003, but just make sure you apply your modifier once you are done with it. So now we see how good looking this stuff is. Okay, so now once you're done with that, you have to join back our mesh. Click on the two mesh, then on your 3D viewport, Ctrl J to join the two mesh to become one. So the next thing you do is to unwrap all closed edges. So you click on your edit mode, go to your faces, hit Alt and click on your covered face, go to your UV editor and click on View, then unwrap, scale it and move it to one side. What this unwrapping does is to make sure that when you are applying texture to your mesh, the texture will be applied on those hidden parts of your mesh, so that when your scene is moving, that entire area will not be dark and discolored, something like that. So make sure you unwrap your UV so that you can apply texture to the faces of the mesh. Okay, so once we're done unwrapping all edges, we will have to change the UV map of our mesh. If you click on our body mesh, you go to this 3 triangle sign. There, you go to UV map. You see that we have UV01 and UV. So we have UV0 and UV1. So we have to replicate the same thing for our mesh. So this UV map, you change it to UV0, you add another column, you change it to UV1. Make sure you do this so that our scenes will be able to read our mesh. Okay, so once we're done with that, always remember to save your progress. Remember to click Ctrl S to save your progress. So the next thing we're going to do, we'll have to import our reference mesh. So now we open up our Sims 4 Studio, go to Cast, create the reading mesh. So what you do now, you have to look for an outfit that looks that looks a lot like what we are doing. So you filter it to female, adult, human. So what you do, look for a mesh that looks like what you need. So let's scroll down and see what should we use. Okay, that looks almost identical to what we are doing. So what you do, you save your package file. I have a folder where I just override all reference mesh that I use, since I just use it for reference purposes only. So once you have saved your reference file, it will open up like this on your Sims 4 Studio. What you do is you go to your go to your meshes and export your log 0. Make sure it's on log 0. Export it and save it on your reference mesh. So I just have the reference mesh, the same way with the package that I just override, since I only use it for reference purposes. So once you've saved it, you click OK. So before I will import my reference mesh, I would like to get rid of some of these clippings because they are too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the proportional editing method to get rid of some of these clippings. I will just extrude it. I'll make sure I turn on my proportional editing. And side note, please, when you are done using your proportional editing, for your own sanity, make sure you turn it off. If not, it's going to mess up a lot of things on the mesh. So what I will do, I will highlight the parts where I want to extrude and make sure my proportional editing is turned on. Then I'll click on G on my keyboard, and you see that cycle. That's the use of the proportional editing. It's going to scale the parts of your mesh that will move equally. So once I hit on G, I'm moving it along the x-axis. That's why you're seeing that red line there. I'll move it a bit to get rid of some of the clipping. I'm going to extend it out too much so that it will not look what's this word? So that it won't look deformed. So once I've done for one side, I'll make sure I do the same thing for the other side. I'll just highlight the parts where I need to get rid of some of the clippings. Then I'll hit G, and along the x-axis, then I'll just move it a bit. That cycle line, make sure your proportional editing is turned on, so that it will limit the parts of your mesh that will move. Okay, so this is fine. It's not so much. We can use sculpt mode to get rid of the remaining few clippings on the mesh. But if you see that it's too wide, you can just click this. You have to be very careful and patient with it, because if you drag your mouse too much on this part of it, it's going to deform your mesh. So you just have to be a little bit patient when you're doing this. Once you're done with that, you append your reference mesh. You go to where you saved it, double click, go to objects, and highlight every studio mesh. Highlight it from then you append it. So next you delete your bone, then you highlight all studio mesh, then go to your 3D viewport and Ctrl J to join it, to become one mesh. So you rename it to ref so that you will not mess it up. Then you have to delete your second rig. One rig is enough for what. So once you've imported your reference mesh that you've appended it, what you do is you click on your reference mesh, go to edit mode, then you subdivide. What you want to do is subdivide into 3 so that why do we even subdivide anyway? Okay, so that we'll have a more what's this thing called, vertex group. Yeah, that's one of the reasons we subdivide. So once you've done that, you go back to your object. You go back to your object mode. So you just click on your reference mesh and see if our UV maps are there. Then you click on your low poly mesh. Then you make sure your UV map is on UV1. Then you go to add modifier. Then you click on data transfer. Under sources, you make sure you click on what's this thing called, reference. Yes. Then you click on vertex data, open the drop down menu, then make sure you click on vertex group. Then mapping should be nearest face interpolated. Make sure that's what you click for your mapping under vertex data. So you click on face corner data. On the drop down menu, click on colors and control shift, then click on UVs. Then make sure your mapping is on nearest face interpolated. Then what you do is go to UVs. Open the drop down menu for UVs and make sure it's on UV1 to UV1. That's your layer selection should be UV1. Then the other one your layer mapping should also be UV1. What you do is you generate. So if you notice on your low poly, another sign will come up that you make sure you apply your data transfer modifier. So you have to check if your colors and your UVs were transferred properly. So you click on your low poly, then you go to you go to vertex paint first to check if your vertex colors, if they transferred well. You see that it transferred well. Some parts are very green, some parts are lighter green, the free parts. So next you go to your weight paint, then you go to your vertex group to see if your weight paint transferred properly. So what you do is, once you see, click on your I think let's look for a part of the cloth of the mesh that we can see, like a spine. Once you click on spine, you see that our weight colors are on top of our mesh. If your weight did not transfer properly, your weight colors, to be as if they're hiding under your mesh. So once it's like that, you just have to repeat this same process again. And please, a little bit of reminder, when you are transferring weight, always make sure your rig is turned on. Do not turn off your rig when you are transferring weight. That's one of the issues I encountered. I don't know why, but I notice most times that when my rig is turned off when I'm transferring weight does not transfer properly. So just check to see if every vertex group is showing properly. So if it doesn't work, if there is like a missing vertex group, I would advise you to pick another reference mesh that closely matches whatever it is you are working with. So this looks pretty okay. It looks quite neat, not too bad, so we can go with this. We don't have too many breaking points here. I'm not even seeing any breaking points except a few, but this is okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pose my avatar so that I will see where we have clippings, especially when our scene is walking or sitting. So you click on your low poly and make sure your moving map is already 0. Then you go to this your modifiers. Then you look for amateur. Click on modify, add modifier, then you look for amateur and click on it. Then on objects you put read so that when you are posing your avatar it will read every other part of your it will read every other part of your what exactly safe. Just see what I'm doing. Okay, and so you see the movement of both your mesh and your body. That is the use of the amateur modifier that we added. So I'm just trying to pose and see where I will reduce tension from our weight transfer so that I will get rid of some very unnecessary clippings. My scene is not going to pose like this in any circumstance, but I'm just going to put random poses and see where I can remove the weight from the mesh. So once you've done that, you go back to object mode, then you go to weight paint. Very important. Then now you click on the part of the body. I think this is thigh on your vector scope. It should be, but let's see. Thigh, okay, that's thigh twist. So now you click on that and click on subtract. Then you reduce the weight, because the weight we are reducing is a little bit. Then you reduce the strength and the radius. Get. Then now once you try subtracting is not working, meaning the problem is not from our thigh twist. So we have to check. I think this should be from the spine. That should be it. Yep, it's from the spine. That's it. Just find where the problem is coming from. Because once your scene is sitting like this, and if you don't subtract this weight from it, once your scene is sitting, this plenty clippings here, they're going to show. So I'm just going to go through the entire mesh and see the areas where I can subtract weight from to reduce the clippings when my scene is sitting or making any pose. So once we're done with the pose, we have to get rid of all these clippings because we have to get rid of them, yes, because you cannot leave them like that. And also you have to move the mesh a little bit away from the body so that when you change the size for your scene, like when you use this size slider on your cast in your scenes for game, it's going to conform to the body well and not have like a lot of clippings. So I'm using the same proportional editing method I used at the initial stage of this video. You just have to be very patient whenever you are using the proportional editing method, because for me I find it easier to use that method than sculpt. Most times when I use the sculpt mode, I tend to deform it a little bit too much, so it gives me like, I don't know, I just prefer using this method, but you should do whatever works for you. This is a very crucial point for me, so I always like to save a copy of my file so that whatever mistake I make from here onwards, I can refer back to this particular file, because I've gone like almost halfway, more than halfway of what I need to do. So At this point, I always save a copy of my file. So I'll also save a copy that I will use for texturing. Once I've saved the first copy, then I'll save another copy of my file that I'm going to use for texturing. So the next thing is to open your placement, simple placement file, so that you know where to place your skirt, your top, your sleeves, so that you're not going to paste your mesh for your skirt on the areas of our UV where you need to place your mesh for your face. Yes, so you need this template for CC. So next I'm going to delete all body parts that are unnecessary, that we don't need. I mean all body parts that are inside our mesh. Sorry. So I'm going to just carefully select the hidden body parts, then I will delete it. This also reduces the number of vectors and vertices that we need. If you are doing something small, you can decide to leave it. Maybe you are making a dress that is very open. You can decide to not delete it. Once you are done with your selection on your 2D report, hit X, then delete faces to remove them. So once you're done with that, you go back to object mode. So now you go to your file, import. Now you import your high poly mesh that we saved from Marvelous Designer. Remember we saved as a OBJ wavefront, high poly, then you import. So once you've done that, you change the color for your high poly mesh so that you can differentiate it from your low poly mesh, especially when you are trying to separate both meshes after joining them. So now another thing I like doing is for my high poly mesh, I always make sure I change the UV map to UV0 and UV1. Once I've done that, I'll click on both my high poly and low poly mesh, go to my 3D viewport and Ctrl J to join them as one mesh. I do this so that I can move both my high poly mesh and low poly mesh to the same spot on my UV editor, so that my texture and my mesh, they can be exactly on the same spot. So what I'll do is I will join my mesh, my outfit mesh to my body mesh to make all of it into one. So this is one of the reasons why I assigned different colors to each mesh, so that when I'm done I can separate it by color. So on your second viewport, you open your CC template, then you click on B on your keyboard, click your entire outfit mesh, and you click SY.5. It's going to reduce the size of your mesh by half. So at this stage, before you do anything, make sure you turn off proportional editing. So next you click on the entire outfit mesh, then you S on your keyboard to scale it down so that it will fit into the space that we have available. Always make sure you fix your UV in the appropriate spots, where you have for your bottom, you have for your top, you have for your shoes. Always make sure you put it in the correct spot. So next, this is another critical point where you have to save your file. So now we'll save both as textures and as log 0. So the texture that we saved before, we'll have to override it with this update, since we didn't have any errors in the entire process up until this point. So we'll have to save as texture and we'll have to save it as log 0. So now once we've done that, we have to prepare our log 0 mesh. So now go back and open our log 0 blender file. Once you've done that, you click on our mesh, then you go to edit mode. Then you click on A, select everything, hit P on your keyboard and separate by material. That is the reason we assigned different colors. So now we should remember that our yellow is our low poly. So what we will do is, for this we have to delete the mesh that is blue, which is the high poly. We don't need the high poly for our normal log 0 mesh, we need our low poly for that. So we have to delete the blue one and we are left with the yellow one. So that is what we have for our log 0. So another thing I like doing is, in case we have any moved vertices that are not joined to each other, I'll go to edit mode, then I'll click on select all, then I'll click M on my keyboard and merge by distance, just in case we have any loose vertices or any loose vertex, so that they can be joined together. And also this eliminates unnecessary vertex and vertices. So up next, I'm going to join our outfit mesh to our body mesh to make it into one mesh for our log 0. And then I'll just rename it to log 0. So once I've done that, I'm just going to check my vertex paint and my weight paint if they are still there. I just like cross checking. It's not necessary, but I just like doing it. Once you've done all of that, you will also see this icon here, then you go to cut and put it at 0. This is very important, as this will enable you to import your mesh into your Sims 4 Studio. Without this, it's not going to work, so make sure you put your cut number there. So now Ctrl S, save your file, and our log 0 mesh is ready. So we're going to run a basic texture test to see how the outfit looks like on our sim. So what we'll do first of all is to create a new image. We use 2048 as the width, then the height 4096. So the name, just name BC test. Okay, now we've created a new image. So next thing, we'll make sure that our rig, the eye stuff on our rig is turned off, the rendering is also turned off. So next, you click on our log 0, you separate the body mesh from the fabric mesh, then you turn off the body mesh so that we only have our outfit mesh there. Then also you turn off the rendering for our body mesh. We don't need it. So next you go to render settings, then you click on cycle. We're using cycle render for this test. You will pick a color of your choice, then just follow the settings that I'm applying here. Since it's a test render, we are going to put our sample for our render to 50, because the higher the render sample, the more time and more details it brings out, and always make sure you click on the noise. Something very important before you bake your texture. So on this output viewport, you click on Shift A, go to texture, click on this node image texture. So now you open that your DC test image that you saved before. Then you make sure that it is highlighted white. Make sure it is highlighted white before you click on bake. That's the only way to show up on this other what's this thing called, this report here. So if you don't have other softwares and you want to bake all your textures from Blender, don't use your Lozero file. Use your texture, that's other file that will save that texture file because it has more details. So now just save this. Just go to image, save as. Please save as. Then you pick a folder and save it there. Once you are done, you exit. Please don't save because it will override your Lozero. So now you open your Sims 4 Studio. You pick a mesh that has very minimal clothing, like a full body mesh. Since we're making a full body outfit, make sure you pick game pack as base game so that anybody can use your mesh. So now once you save this with your preferred file name, then that will be your package file. So once you've saved it, it will open up in your Sims 4 Studio. Now the first thing you're going to do is you make blank all your shaders from your shadow to your specular. Then now you go to your mesh, then you import your Lozero mesh. So once you've done that, this is how it's supposed to look. So because our texture is the texture that came with the package file, that's what it's looking like. Now we have to put the test texture that we rendered from Blender. So now once you open your diffuse import, you click on your base color test and it's going to show up like this. So now this is how it's going to look like. So now what you're going to do is, for these categories, you click on the appropriate categories for this particular outfit. Then you make sure you apply to all swatches so that when you add more colors, every changes you've made here will also reflect on those ones. So now next you go to warehouse. What I like doing, I like setting my display index to 70 so that all my custom content will be exactly at the same spot on my cast mode. So once I'm doing that, I'm going to just save my package file. Once you are saving it, you are saving this is going to be your package file that's going to run on your game. So once we've done that, we have to move this package file to our Sims 4 CC mod folder. I don't know if it's called mode or mod folder, but whatever it is, just copy it and go and paste it on your Sims 4 mod folder. It should be under your document, under electronic arts Sims 4 mods, so you should find it there. So I always put my outfit under the metal fabric category so that it will be easy for me to filter whenever I'm looking for them. So I'm just going to look for it over here. So now I'm going to rotate and check if I can see some clippings here. So I have to fix that on my Lozero from Blender. So just take note of the areas where there are clippings so that you can fix it. So when you move the slider up, yes, we are seeing a lot more clippings which we will have to adjust on our Lozero in Blender. So that will be all for this part. I will see you in the next part where we what are we doing in the next part, Seth? Okay, I think we're going to ZBrush and Substance Painter in our next part for texture. So I'll see you next video. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment if you have any questions, and subscribe. I'll try as much as possible to put up the next video very soon. Thank you.